I got a lot of RPMs on it because it still hit my foot and then it spun a little bit, but a lot of room for improvement.
I was gonna say, is that something you have to practice? Do you work on that?
I do not work on it. Just came to me. It didn't go very well.
What was better or worse, your spin or Jamar's punt attempt?
My spin was definitely better than his punt, for sure.
Have you talked to him about that?
No, I haven't. He knows. He knows. Saved him $15K though.
There's been a lot made of how much you guys have kind of switched up what you're doing offensively. So 6 games in, what do you feel like your offense is doing best at this point?
Yeah, I think, whatever the game plan calls for, every week is going to be different. Last week we were able to get the RPOs going. We'll see how the week goes and see what we end up doing this week. But, I feel good about where we're at.
Not that you haven't been confident in your past offensive lines, but is it fair to say that this is the most confident you've been in an offensive line since you got into the league?
These guys are playing very well for us the last couple of weeks. They're going to continue to get better and better. They're meshing as a group. Each individual player has played really well for us. And so I have all the confidence in the world in those guys.
What's the difference between week 1 and now?
Yeah, it's just playing together more, understand the concepts and what teams are trying to do to us. So you got to give credit to those guys for all the work they're putting in.
Are there moments where you recognize the progression the offensive line has made and go like, oh, I can do stuff differently now because of what you're seeing?
Yeah, the last 2 weeks have been pretty lights out from them as far as pass pro goes, and we run the ball well, got that going a little bit. So those guys have a lot of confidence. They're playing really well. They're going to keep that going.
You've been so good at scrambling and getting away from pressure. It's what you do. I'm just curious, on the 3rd down play where you found Tyler Boyd, you somehow avoided pressure and a sack and you got away. It looked like you were almost baiting the defenders to think you were going one way and then spun it back. Was that what you were doing there, or is that just how it played out?
Yeah. There's always, depends on each individual play, obviously, but, however I feel I can extend the play the best is how I'm going to do it, and that was, run right, try to reverse field left. I know maybe I don't do that on a 1st or 2nd down. Maybe I throw the ball away or find somebody on the other side, but when it's 3rd and 4 and the game's on the line like that, I can kind of get a little more creative.
So in that moment, you're towing the line, basically taking a small gamble and they might get you, but just projecting that it hopefully goes your way.
Hopefully.
So, where did you get comfortable doing that type of stuff? And pocket stuff too, not just running all over the place. But is that backyard games when you were a kid that you just got comfortable and liked that part of the game, or where did that?
I don't know. It's just kind of something I've always been pretty good at. I've taken pride in it, and it's gotten better over the years. So it's just part of my game that hopefully I can do for my entire career. Maybe as I get older, I'll have to abandon it a little bit, but right now I'm pretty good at it.
Did you do it in high school, or was it
Yeah.
happened else now?
High school for sure.
Is it something you either have or you don't have? It can't be coached. Either you have a feel for that kind of thing, you don't.
Yeah, I think for the most part that's true.
So you think design runs could be in your future?
Yeah, I'm all for it. I'm ready to go.
Is that stuff what separates a good from a great quarterback in this league, where all the quarterbacks are so good, or do we make too much of that because they're highlight plays and they're fun to watch?
Well, I think you can win a lot of different ways. You see Tom still playing at a really high level, and he doesn't do any of that. Aaron, he did a lot of that when he was younger, but these days he's not doing as much, and so there's a lot of different ways to win.
What do you like about IPOs?
It just gives you more options to beat the defense, and some weeks they're available to you, and some weeks they aren't. Last week it was. We'll see what we do going forward.
I was just going to say, do you guys think you have an identity on offense, or is your identity your several things?
Yeah, I think we're good at mixing it up. 1 week we might throw a bunch of RPOs like last week, and the next week we might be a downhill run team. We'll have to see. Every defense is different, and so every game plan calls for something else.
Obviously with the RPOs, there's obviously the threat of running the ball, but what are the differences for you from an RPO to just a regular play action pass? What do you have to focus on? What are some of the keys that you look for in those plays?
You're always reading. It's usually one person instead of multiple people, and so it's getting out fast. Obviously, you can run the ball off of it. So it's good against some teams and not great against others.
Do you expect a lot of that deep zone from Atlanta, and if they ran that a lot this year?
We'll see. They like to mix up their coverages. They have really smart players, it seems like, because they're able to run a lot of different things, and so we'll see what their plan is against us.
How helpful has Dan and Brian been in terms of the film breakdown, Joe, and how critical has that been in terms of when you move from, let's say, a more traditional to an RPO? How do they help you in breaking down film?
Yeah, I mean, those guys, they really give me all the answers to the test each week. I do my own film study, but the majority of what I lean on is what they tell me to do, and I mean, they're some of the best at it, and so I lean on those guys a lot.
How is that different, though, between the way you break it down on your own and then you break it down with them? Are you like double checking, or you know, kind of comparing what they see versus what you see?
I'm more so breaking down for me as far as like disguises that you might see as a quarterback, how the safeties line up, how the corners try to disguise their coverages. Not as much drawing out plays in my own head to beat
Scheme?
the defense. Yeah,
Like they go over scheme with
they
you?
go over scheme.
Right.
There's a lot of talk about, trying to get the ball more to Tyler Boyd, at least from the coaches, and had a great game on Sunday. I mean, how important is it to have output from a guy like him?
Yeah, he's going to continue to do what he does. He's going to get open and make plays over the middle, and he's a guy that I've leaned on over the years on third down, and so there's probably more room to grow as far as getting him the ball more. But I thought he played really well for us on Sunday and helped us get a big win.
It's an interesting chunk that you have on the schedule. You got Atlanta, Carolina, and Cleveland here the next 3 weeks. I mean, going into the bye, do y'all view this as a pretty critical portion of the season? Being where y'all are at in the standings, how that tight things a bit.
Yeah, I mean, every game feels like a do or die in the NFL, but this 3-game stretch I think will determine how our season goes.
Is that something that is that something that's been talked about throughout the week, knowing how tight things are going to be on the back end, that y'all do need to take care of business here?
No, we haven't talked about it. We've been focused on Atlanta and getting this one, and then we'll move on to the next one after this.
And you take a lot of pride in your guys' success on third downs, but I mean, third and short, you seem to be particularly lethal, 3 and closer. What is it about that fits your game that you've been able to be so efficient in those situations? Really, not just this year, but your whole career, really.
I think, Coach Pitch does a great job. He does the third downs, and so he comes up with great schemes for us every week to beat the coverages that we're going to see on third down, so you got to give credit to him. And then our guys going out and executing the plan. We've been able to draw up some really cool plays in those situations that have been good to us.
I think Jamar is leading the league in third down catches, which is, would you say, geez, you figure they're going to be on him on third down. Why? I mean, is that a scheme thing where he's getting open, or what?
It's a third down tends to change the defensive structure. There's they get a little more aggressive. They don't want to give you the underneath stuff, and so that opens up some opportunities for him. And then I think, when the going gets tough, that's kind of the guy that I like to lean on and go find, because I know he's going to make a play for me.
How prideful are you in third down? I mean, you're completing over 70%, 7 touchdowns, no interceptions, quarterback rating 136. I mean, leads the league almost across the board. Is third down your money down? Is that the big?
Well, that's really what ends up determining games, is how you execute on third down. Obviously, if you're playing really well, you don't even get to third downs. You get the first down on first, second down. But especially the last couple of weeks, taking the check downs, getting to 2nd and 6, 3rd and 3, that's going to be a recipe for success on third downs, not staying in 3rd and 8 and 9 and 10, and the defensive line can get going, and then you got to worry about ribs and chips. And so when you stay in front of the chains, you're going to be a lot more successful.
When you guys are doing your thing, 8-yard gain, 12, 10, all of a sudden 30 yards in 3 plays, defense is like, we got to do something different. Is that how you waited for them to blink? You've made them make the move?
Yeah, you just got to be patient throughout the game, and I think the way the defenses are going across the league, it's not just us. They're kind of playing everybody like that. So you got to take those underneath ones until they decide that they're tired of it, and then it opens up opportunities down the field.
The play that seemed to sum it up with the touchdown to Mixon, that seemed to be what summed it up, the 3rd and 9.
Yeah, they were focused on Jamar in the slot, and the linebacker was trying to get a redirect on him, and Joe ran a great route, perfect timing, and he went and made a play in the end zone.
You had really good protection on that play, right? I mean, because it seemed like one of the things that went unnoticed in that play is how much time you had to scramble in the pocket.
Yeah, I mean, he's like I said, those guys up front are doing an unbelievable job for us. And, you know, in my opinion, last 3 weeks they've been one of the top offensive lines in the league.
Circling back a little bit, what makes that three-game chunk ahead of the bye maybe more pivotal than other chunks at various points throughout the season?
Well, you want to feel great going into the bye week. You know, we were 5-4 headed into the bye last year. Obviously, hoping to get these 3 wins to go 6-3.
How different is that being 6-3 compared to being 5-4? On paper, it seems like a one-game difference, but is getting that kind of what's the difference feeling goal-wise going into the bye?
Well, that bye week you want to enjoy, and so 6-3 just sounds a lot better than 5-4. And so when you're sitting on your couch thinking about how your season's gone so far, 6-3 sounds a lot better.
It was a lousy by last year.
Hmm?
It was a lousy.
Yeah, 2 straight losses by a lot. It was horrible.
On Colin's podcast, he was talking to you about how you seem to be at your best when you're playing from behind, but Zach on Monday was saying eventually you guys have got to stop doing that because it'll catch up to you. So how do you balance that and you guys get off to a faster start even though you know you do have it in you? If you got to bring the team back, you can.
Yeah, obviously you don't want to be in those situations where you have to come back, but you know, we're comfortable in those situations. We've been in that situation a lot the last 2 years, but you know, getting out to a fast start is obviously ideal, so you can really keep the whole playbook open. So we're looking to do that this week.
Do you see that especially being important this week because Atlanta will try and control time of possession with running the ball?
That's what you gotta really jump out on teams that like to run the ball. Like Saints last week, we're running it well. This week, Atlanta's going to run it well. And then Browns after that, they're going to run it really well. So you got to jump out fast to kind of stay in the game.
What'd you make of that first indoor practice?
I loved it. It was a pleasant surprise. It was a lot better than I could have even expected. So we're excited to have that opportunity and have that option to go over there.
You feel like that helped being indoors going in and preparing for being inside the dome?
Yeah, when you're playing in a dome, you'd like to have that indoor available.
So what surprised you?
Just how quality it was, really. You know, it's going to be a great option for us going forward when the weather gets tough. You can go in there and have a great practice.
What was it like to have Jamar play Jeopardy with you guys?
You did a good job.
Did he?
Did a really good job, yeah. He a couple celebrity questions for him, so he did a good job for us.
Speaking of Jamar, the last time you faced A.J. Terrell, Falcons quarterback, Jamar had a pretty good game. Do you think A.J.'s improved a lot since that national championship?
Yeah, he's been playing well for him. I haven't gone back and watched that film or anything to see how much better he's got, but I know he's playing really well for him this year. We'll see if he plays. I know he's a little banged up and exited a game last week, so we're preparing for him, but we'll be ready if he's not playing too.
Lamar Jackson is a freak athlete, and people underestimate his ability to throw sometimes. In your situation, everybody knows you can throw it, but everybody kind of underestimates your athletic ability. Do you feel that that's an underrated part of your game? People don't give you credit for your athletic ability?
Yeah, I would say that. I try not to break it out too much, but when it's needed, I go out and try to make a play.